We're going to start with the easiest exercise to the hardest exercises. First one we're going to do, shoulder passive range of motion. Number one is called the Codman's. It's for anybody after surgery. This is the affected arm. They just basically lean over, they hold on. If they want to do this, they can as well. Basically, you just want to let the arm hang. And then you're starting to weight shift through your legs to just get the arm to swing. It's not this, it's moving the body back and forth and letting the arm swing. When you get to like 30 times counterclockwise, then you could stop, let the arm slow down, and then move counterclockwise. That's all it is. A very, very simple exercise. We may have Codman's with a dumbbell, maybe a 2-pounder just for a little bit of distraction, but the therapist will let you know that. But that's Codman's. ER with stick in seated or supine. Again, it's a passive range of motion exercise. Passive range of motion means the joint is not working. So this is the affected hand, this is the non-affected hand. Towel, maintain at 90 degrees. All you do from here, this hand pushes this out this way. Make sure you don't straighten out your elbow as you do that. Always maintain at 90 degrees at the elbow here. Push straight out, okay? Till you feel, or when the therapist tells you stop, or when the doctor has you stop, and you hold that for 15 seconds, and then bring it back in, and then you go back out again. You're gonna keep the camera going. If you gotta do it supine, it's the same thing, just on your back. Okay, your elbow can drop. If it hurts the front of your shoulder, you can put this underneath your arm. Again, the therapist will let you know that. Again, elbow pinned to your side. Bring it straight out. This is a little harder to see if you have the 90 degrees at the elbow. Just tell the person to visually look at their hand and don't let their hand get further away from them. So this way they'll keep the 90 degrees. They'll come back like this and go up. You could actually go more than 90 degrees if you want, but you don't want, as you straighten out, to straighten out your elbow. So towel slides, inflection is exercise number 4. Put the plexi board here. Okay, make it where it's frictionless. If the person's wearing like a long sleeve, this is fine. So you hold it like this. If not, they can put their hand in here. Basically what they do is they use their body and the table to achieve shoulder flexion. So they just start leaning forward. And the only thing they have to do here is keep the elbow straight. They just lean forward, lean forward, lean forward until they feel like a good pull in here. Hold it for a good 15 seconds and then sit back up. And then the same thing back down again. So when they're down here, they've in essence gotten this much range of motion, but not have to fight for it because their trunk and the table did the work for them. And then they just slide it back. They don't slide back and do this. They just sit up and let the arm drag behind them. So that's towel inflection. You can also do it abduction. We really don't do it a lot, but you can bring the chair away and you get more abduction that way. Typically though, if you want to do scaption, you can do it as well. Aim to this corner. So you just do scaption like this. But mostly what we do is seated towel flexion in seated. Standing pectoralis stretch. Come over here. This will be the affected arm. You just basically come up, put your arm here, maintain the 90 degrees here, okay? And from here, you just basically take your body and you just lean forward. You should feel a nice pull in here. Again, you want to hold all these stretches for about 15 seconds and then come back out of it for and you do 10 repetitions of that. So 15-second hold, come back out 10 times. Sometimes you guys might have them do it 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 15, that's fine. IR sleeper stretch. IR is internal rotation. So this is going to be the affected arm. You lay on the side. Okay, you don't want to come up too far, maybe right here. And from here, keep the 90 degrees. You're just basically bringing the hand straight down. You'll feel it deep in the shoulder here. It's a good posterior capsule, internal rotation stretch. Okay, so that's a great IR sleeper because you're kind of going to sleep. Always have a pillow on the person's head no matter what exercise they're doing. Straight down, hold it for a good 15 seconds, then come back up. The IR SOS, which is a stretch out strap. When you get the strap, you can do it with a towel if you like, or you can do it with the strap. You basically, this is going to be the arm working, the left hand. You basically hold it like this. They can get their arm behind their back. First of all, if they ever can't get their arm behind the back, what you could do, like if they can barely get it on their buttock, you could do this. And it's a great stretch to show. You just basically go by a door. You put your elbow right on a door or a wall, and you just lean straight back. That's a great internal rotation stretch. If they can do that, you want to advance it. You can take it to this, where they hold it, they squeeze, and then they basically come straight up. And that's a little bit more internal rotation, and they can bring their elbow forward for even more internal rotation. Again, we're still doing passive range of motion. It's going to be passive range of motion, UBE. You'll say, let's say the right arm is the affected arm. it'll say right passive range of motion, left active. So the only thing the right arm is doing at all is just holding on. It's very important to adhere to the passive range of motion, because if you don't, a person could tear a tendon or a ligament or something that was just reattached. So now the left arm is going to do all the work, and the left arm is going to crank it. The right arm, again, is just holding on. So we're just kind of going through the motions, but the one that's powering all of this is the left hand. The right hand, the only thing it's doing is just holding on. It's not actively trying to do anything. It's just holding on, and it's being put through the range of motion by way of power through the left upper extremity. So you can go forward, and then we can go backwards. Eventually we'll advance this to active assist, where the right arm does a little bit, and then finally it gets stronger and stronger where the right arm is just doing all the work by itself. But to start out early on, passive range of motion, right means just holding on, left is doing all the work. All right, so finger ladder. The only thing working here are your fingers, okay? It's for anybody with a shoulder injury with a passive range of motion, and we're progressing into active assisted. There's no way that I could fully trust, it's patient by patient, that the person's gonna like just use their fingers and nothing at their shoulder. That's why it's a passive range of motion exercise, but we typically give it when it's passive and active assisted. So the rules are right here. Use your fingers to climb up as high as you can. So first thing what you do is you line up, so when your shoulder, if your shoulder was walking into the ladder, that's where you want to line up. You don't want to line up like this, so you're on an angle. You don't want to line up like this, or you're too far away. So right here in front. So you basically walk right up to it, bend your elbow, wherever your fingers land. From there you start climbing. You climb, you climb, you climb, climb. Keep going. Let's say you get to about here. You're like, that's about, pain. 10 is severe pain, 0 is no pain. With all of these stretches that we do, this is the rule you're going to adhere to. 0 is no pain, 10 is severe. I want you to go about a 2 or a 3 and hold it at that 3. Don't go and make it more pain where now you're causing yourself more and more discomfort. A little bit of discomfort's okay, but minimal. So about a 3. So let's say you get up here, that's about a 3. I hold it there. The rule says I hold it there about 15 seconds. All right? And then I come down. I don't have to come all the way down. Come down 2-3 steps just to take the edge off so that discomfort goes away, that stretch discomfort, and then I go right back into it. 15 seconds, and I come right back down. See, a lot of times people go all the way back down, and they start all over. You don't, from here to here is really not that important. It's up here that I'm trying to get the extra stretch. So every time a patient comes in, session to session, they might go an extra step, until finally they're here, and then what you can do is tell them, all right, now that you get to the top, I want you to lean in, and they got a good stretch in here. You might hear some cracking, that's good. All right, and then you would hold out for 15 seconds, and then after the therapist sees them doing that, they're probably gonna get discharged. Next thing we're gonna do is another active assistive, which means the affected arm, let's say, is the left arm, it's doing some work, but the right arm also is gonna help out. So it's active, but it's getting assisted, so active assisted. Clasped hands, we used to do this supine. We're not gonna do it supine anymore because I don't want the table to hold the shoulder blades and not allow them to move through the range of motion that you need them to move through for normal elevation. So you're gonna hold, arms away, not here, away. If you wanted to do a little bit easier, that's fine, but this is better. So the left arm and the right arm are gonna go up together. Left arm is gonna be helped by the right arm, and you get to about here. Keep going, keep going. You wanna hold this for, since it's active assisted, you wanna hold this for a good 5-6 seconds, try to inch it up a little bit more, and then come back down through the full range of motion. And again, all the way back up. And typically this is 3 sets of 15. Next one we're gonna do this is exercise number 11. The one I just showed you was number 10. The finger ladder was exercise number 9. This is the pulleys. So the way we always do this is it's active. So the left arm is going to try to do, unless it's specified, but typically it's active. That means the left arm is the one that's working. He's going to go up as much as he can on his own. And then when he finds it gets difficult to keep going, then the right arm is going to help out a little bit, but the left arm is still working. They're going to work, work, work. So that went from active to active assisted. And now he's going to get to the point where the left arm is really just shot. It's not able to do anymore. But now we want to get a good stretch out of it. So then when you get to the passive range of motion part, so now the right arm is just pulling this thing straight down. The left hand, the only thing it's doing is holding on, allowing it to go up. Same thing, the patient can lean in a little bit more if they want. Never have it where it's like this, where you're causing this pinch in the front of the shoulder. You want to have it more out here. If anything, they can always scoot their chair away. So avoid the elbow coming across the body. You want the elbow out here, and you want this. All right, it's less of a pinch that you have to worry about up here. All right, so that's pulleys, and the PT should be writing A, which is active, with an arrow, AA, which is active assisted, with an arrow to passive, which like I just showed you. Started out active, went to active assisted, then we just finished off with a nice passive stretch for a good 15-second hold. Typically do that, again, one set of 10 or one set of 15. however you want to do it. You want to do 10-second hold, 15 reps, 15-second hold, 10 reps. Decide, but either of those two numbers, however you want to do it. Make sure either of those two get done. All right, so now those are all the passive range of motion to the active assistive to a little bit of the active range of motion ones. So now we're going to get into external rotators, all right, which are the muscles back here. There's 3 small muscles, infraspinatus, teres minor, and posterior deltoid, that do this. It's a very important motion that you need to get the shoulder to function properly. So ER, first thing is called isometrics. Isometric basically means the muscle's contracting, but there's no joint movement, okay? So something like this. So my hand, my right hand is gonna be the affected hand. It wants to go out this way, but we can't allow that movement either because the doctor said no, or the patient's just too weak or too inflamed to do it, but we can do an isometric contraction. So this hand is gonna be the resistance hand. We're gonna maintain at 90 degrees, towels in here to provide a little bit of joint space in between. It's gonna come under, create a hook, and you're gonna just hold it, and then you're gonna say, okay, ready, contract. So this hand, again, is gonna wanna go this way, but this hand's not gonna let it. The left hand's not gonna let it. So you're gonna hold, right now I'm contracting, but there's no movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 1 repetition. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you continue to do that. You rest about a second or 2 in between, and you keep doing that. 6-second holds, isometric contractions. Typically, it's 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 15 that we're gonna do with this. All right, so that's exercise number 12. Number 13 is going to be isometric walkouts with a T-band. I like this one. I don't know who made it up, but it's a good one. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to hold this position here with the T-band. You can go from yellow, the lightest, green, the middle, black, the hardest. And from here, you can just walk out. So as I walk out, it's getting harder and harder. So it's relying on more and more muscle strength, but I'm not creating any force, but you're going to have to judge as to what you can use. And then you come back in, you take a few steps back. Okay, you never want this starting from here. Always, whenever you're doing with TheraBands, always it starts out taut throughout the whole range of motion. Not one part of that range of motion should it be like this. So if I'm ever doing this exercise where I'm going out like this, I shouldn't have it like this, and then it's not taut, and then it gets taut. So no matter what exercise it is, you start out from it being a little bit of taut. Take steps out, and then you come back in. So every time you go back, there and back is 1. And you can do 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 15. That's a great exercise. Next one is supine ER with T-band. Again, all these exercises are going from easiest to hardest. Some might say that one exercise might be harder than the other, but typically it's going from easiest to hardest. So if it hurts for the person to leave their arm all the way down here, you put a pillow or a towel underneath their arm here. They grab on here, maintain at 90 degrees, and this hand is a resistance hand. They hold it, or you can pin it down here, but it's better to hold it here so that the line of pull is even. From here, the person starts and they go out like this, and then they bring it easily in like this. Okay, nice and slow, nice and controlled, maintaining 90 degrees. Again, I'm visually looking at my fist, my right fist, or my watch, and making sure it's not going further away. That's how you're gonna instruct your patient. So this way they're not doing this, and they're doing a tricep extension instead of external rotation. So if you're gonna go out this way, again, make sure the line of pull is even with the direction that I'm going. So don't hold it here, they come back, and slow. So it's a nice external rotation, active range of motion. That means it's not isometric anymore. There is actually movement at the joint, and the muscle's contracting, of course. So that's a very easy way to do it. Same thing. Left hand is the one that's working, towel goes underneath, 90 degrees at the elbow. If you see the common thing that's going on, it's always 90 degrees at the elbow. No matter a lot of the exercise we're doing, always when in doubt, just say 90 degrees at the elbow. So again, the person's standing here. Whenever you're standing with weight or resistance in your hand, you always have your knees slightly unlocked. You don't have to be bent like this, but you don't want them straight. That puts a lot of pressure on the back, even just undue pressure. Just have the knees slightly unlocked. Start here, okay? There's tension. Come all the way out. Come all the way back in. Come all the way out. Come all the way back in. Now, what you don't want is this at the wrist. They're doing this at the wrist. The wrist has to stay neutral, okay? If you see the person can't do, stop themselves from doing that, then you put the T-band here, you tell them to just relax the wrist, and then just go out this way. And I preferably maybe would like to see that anyway, because somebody might strain their wrist extensors, kind of gripping this thing so tight, they might strain these wrist extensors. So just have it here. Have their wrist slightly extended just to hold the T-band. From here they come out, come back in. You've taken the wrist out and the forearm completely out so they can't strain it. All right, even that little switch I just did makes me feel it this much more in the shoulder. All these exercises, the external rotation should be back here. It should never be here. If it's here, that means you're doing something wrong. You got to correct your form. So start from here, go out, come back in. What you don't want to see, I'll turn around and show you, is you don't want to see, let's say I'm using the right arm, you don't want to see this. It's not that. The shoulder blade here should not be moving. You see how the difference is? Nothing is moving. You don't want to do this, where you're twisting and you're rotating your trunk. Seems like a very easy exercise, but everybody can mess it up. So straight out like this, straight in. So if you're standing behind me, you shouldn't really see anything until you see my fist pop out. All right? You shouldn't see a lot of shoulder blade movement. Have the shoulder blade hunker down and stay, kind of stable and fixed. And then from there, then you start doing your external rotation. Okay? That's how you got to do it. Nice and slow. 2-3 seconds out, 2-3 seconds in. With every exercise, that's how you want to do it. 2-3 seconds out, 2-3 seconds in. Whenever someone's doing any kind of exercise on their side, always have pillows. All right? You never want the person holding their head up. Now they got a strained neck when they were coming in here for a shoulder issue. So always have enough pillows. Typically, a thin pillow and a thick pillow together is really good because it's the best neutral position. If you put two thick pillows, they're kind of up. Two thinner pillows are usually not enough. So this is usually good, a thick and a thin. So put the towel in here. Again, elbow at the side. Best way to do this exercise is roll forward a little bit, okay? If you roll back like this, typically people feel it here. So if you ever have somebody that says, oh, I feel it here, just put your hand on the back of their shoulder and just roll them forward a little bit. They can even slide their elbow slightly forward, okay? Holding it like this. Again, you could hold the dumbbell. It doesn't need to be held like this. This is a very common compensation. Everybody does this a lot. So just kind of hold the dumbbell just to hold it. And you don't even have to keep your wrist neutral. I really don't care about that. Head is on the side. Come up and come back down. Nice and slow. Come up, hold it, come back down. Sometimes I've seen people going further out. You can. I don't like it too much, but you can. But what you want to protect from is if somebody's doing this, and then they're kicking in their retractors. So again, your retractors or your mid-traps or rhomboids, hold the shoulder blade nice and tight. You see how I just kind of hunkered it down, and then I start my exercise. All right, and then when I'm done, then I can relax this back portion. But when I first go to start, it's I hold this nice and tight, and then I contract off of those muscles to then move my rotator cuff. Up slow, down slow. Every exercise again, 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 down. You cannot mess up if you do that. And always ask the person, where do you feel it? It should be back here. So that's sideline ER with a dumbbell. Seated ER and scaption. You can go like this, where it's totally off to the side. This is more like an abduction. So abduction is here, flexion is here, scaption is here. I like this position because it's less likely to cause discomfort. Sometimes if it's too far, you might get a pinch in here, and if it's too far this way, the person's not there, ready to get this range of motion. So we just work in the middle on scaption. Hell, if they're ready to do it this way, that's good. That's fine. I like that. All right, so you can have it like this. The corner should hit your wrist. Start from here, come up, come back down. This is great for anybody that's got like pec tightness and we want to just open this up. Seated ER should be done. So if you're adding an exercise like a pec stretch to somebody, or you see pec stretches being done, maybe suggest to the therapist, hey, listen, I see we doing sideline ER, but can we do seated ER to open it up? So come up nice and slow, come down. Again, it should be back here. Shouldn't be anything in the front. Up slow, down slow. You could also do this with a T-band. So if you see, we'll keep this the same number, but if you want to keep this, person just steps on it, come here, okay? Come up, come down, or if they want to do this on their other side of the foot, this probably better line of pull-wise, okay? So it's in the T-band's on the inner thigh. Again, come up, come down, come up, come down. Sometimes when you're holding the dumbbell, when you get up here, the dumbbell is just kind of sitting down. This, however, is always pulling you down this way. So if you see ER with a T-band, it's this. ER with a dumbbell, it's what I just showed you. So in the spirit of going from easiest to hardest, if you noticed, we're going sideline, then seated. Now we're going to go back to cable column. We used the T-band before, but if you really want to get, really a good amount of strength build in the shoulder, elbow at your side, use the cable column. Start at lowest weight is 20 pounds from here. Come straight out, come back in. Again, knees are slightly unlocked just to hold the weight. Come out, come back in. It's hard to do. You want to make it harder for the person. Let's say they're not ready to jump up another 5 pounds or a 2.5 pound. I don't know if we have them. You can make it harder by having the person, instead of coming out like this, they can do this. Come out slow. And then they hold it for 1, 2, 3, and then come back in. So you could write slow range of motion or, dead slow. So now that, the other therapists know that, okay, we're gonna go really slow with this one and make the muscle work that much harder. Of course, we all know that when you're doing an exercise, the slower you do the exercise, the more motor units you're recruiting and the harder it is. It's easy to do bench press like this. It's hard to come down, hold it, come back up. No matter what weight you're doing, it's always gonna be that much harder. So always think about that when you can't make that leap to the next weight. Try to make how the person's doing the exercise a little bit harder to do, holding it longer, slower, range of motion, and the person will get that much, stronger out of that weight without possibly hurting themselves to go up to a weight that they're not ready for. All right, number 19, again, we're going harder and harder. We're gonna do a prone on your stomach, wide to ER, then back down. This is great for any kind of athletes, or anybody who works like electricians, contractors, people that use their arms a lot, their shoulders a lot, they need their arms to be nice and strong. So again, half on, half off like this on a diagonal. This is how you always lie. You never want the table to dig into the shoulder, so make sure you slide over enough so it's all free in here. Put your feet at the other end and the patient won't feel like they're gonna fall off. They can hold on here, they can hold on here, and their chin hangs off. Instead of having to have their face turn like this, they can keep their neck neutral so they don't hurt your neck, their neck. So they come up, then they come up like that, then they come down, then they come down. Come up, down, down. Okay, that's one. One, and then they come down, two. Okay, again, everything should be felt in the back of the arm, back of the shoulder. If they feel it in their neck, that means they're doing this. So make sure they're not shrugging. Come up like this, come up like that. So they're getting a little bit of retractors in there, and then they're getting their external rotators. All right, so that's prone, wide to ER. So we're gonna go now, we did prone, now we're gonna do standing. So this is a very loose T-band. You can do it with the cable column if you want. Come like this, 90-90, boom. Now you're just holding the position, all right? 90 at the abduction, 90 at the elbow, up, down. Again, you don't wanna see this. Nothing else moves. From here, the rest of my body, nothing else moves. It's just my external rotators working, okay? Back and slow. So if you're standing from where Matt's filming, you shouldn't see any of this or anything else like that. Everything should be nice and stable, down and up. And you want the line of pull even, maybe even a little higher, okay? You don't want it too low. You can have it a little lower if you want, but you don't want it like way down or way high, okay? Back, forward. The next one we're gonna do is number 21, which is standing wide to ER. So again, you can always make it more difficult by doing this. Standing wide, so wide as this, to ER. Down, forward. Back, back, down, forward. If they get a pinch, maybe go a little lower. The elbow doesn't have to be so high, all right? But you don't want this. So elbow up a little bit, back, down, forward. That's standing wide to ER with T-band. We'll progress eventually to the cable column. So now number 22, we did the external rotators, which is the back. Now I'm going to do internal rotators. Don't do a lot of these, but it's very important for somebody who got a surgery. We want to get their internal rotators, or somebody with like multi-directional stability. We want to get them to kind of fire up and be, start to contract again. It's good to wake them up. So same thing, elbow at your side. This hand now, you can put it like this. You can put it like this. But now the hand wants to go in, so this hand stops it. So you do this. You go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Relax. Again, this hand is trying to go in. This hand is stopping it. So that's your isometric. 6-second holds, and you can do it that way. Isometric walkouts with T-band, just like we showed you before. So you're holding this like this, and then you go, okay, go. 1, 2. It's getting harder to hold this. My hand wants to do this, but I'm fighting to keep it in. Back, back. You can do 2 steps, 3 steps, however you want, but it'll be there. Back is 1, and the therapist will let you know it's 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 15. So they maintain this position, out, so it's isometric walkouts, okay? So that's number 23. Standing IR with T-band is this, standing here, again, 90 degrees, come on in, okay, in, and then you can also do it with the cable column, a bit more weight, elbow, knees are slightly bent, elbows bent, come in, come out. If you're standing here and you're doing this, and this this is happening, you wanna make sure like you're kinda in line with the whole thing where the line of pull is just going straight forward. So in and out. And again, you're working your pecs, your bicep, your anterior delt, your lats. That was exercise number 23. I'm sorry, 24. Standing 90-90 IR with T-band. So you're doing this. Okay. So standing IR with T-band at 90-90. So 90 degrees, forward and back, forward and back. Okay, this is great for pitchers. You don't want to do it fast, you want to do it nice and slow. Even me doing it right now, you lose your form a little bit, but it's more of a stability exercise because I have to hold my arm here. It's a more advanced exercise for internal rotation. Okay, so you gotta make sure everything is up to speed for you to do that. So that was number 25. And number 26, we're gonna do sideline internal rotation with dumbbell. Come up and down, come up and down. Typically won't see this a lot because people with shoulder pain have problems laying on their side. So if we do an IR, they'll probably be standing. But if you ever see sideline IR, it's this. Okay? So 3 sets of 15 again. All right, so now let's walk over and do shrugs. So now we're done with the internal rotators. We're gonna go into the upper trapezius. And there's basically one exercise you can do for the upper trapezius, which are shrugs. Okay, so always hand the weight to the person. Especially with this one, the knees are slightly unlocked, elbows are at their sides. They're not killing the dumbbell by squeezing it, but they are squeezing it so it doesn't drop on their foot. Start from here, you're gonna go straight up and straight down. There is no, oh yeah, you know, if you roll it, it's really good. It makes no difference. The shrugs come up, the upper trapezius and the levator scap elevate the shoulder blades, and then they allow it to come back down. They elevate, and they allow it to come back down. And then when they're done, they put their weight back. All right, so that's exercise number 27, shrugs with dumbbells or barbell. You'll see the barbell. They basically go up to the barbell, one hand up, one hand over. Okay, they pick the barbell up, they do their shrugs, and then when they're done, they put it back down. But again, not a very popular exercise here. Typically when patients are coming here with neck pain, we're really working the upper trap. We don't want to actually, we're massaging it, we don't want to activate it.